Hey guys, Steve Welch here. So wanted to come at you with one of my tales of a car guy. So I'm always in Nashville and I drive a lot. You guys know that. You've been around my channel any amount of time. So but I used to work on semi trucks, right? And when I did that, I had a CB that I put in my truck just because, you know, why not? A little portable CB. And I like talking to truckers, and to be quite honest, sometimes they'll keep you out of a jam, whether it's with somebody looking to make sure that your speed isn't too high, or whether it's just, hey, you know, there's a wreck on whatever and you need to go around it. Hey, we're taking this road, we're taking that road, and man, if a semi can go down it, I'm pretty sure my truck can, right? So that being said, sometimes not all drivers are the smartest apples of the bunch, right? So if you look like ahead of me here, right, you've got this flatbed that's ahead of me here. All right, there are two different kinds of cabs that you can have. You can have what's known as a day cab, or you can have a sleeper. So now this one he just kind of got over, and I'm going to kind of peek at him here, but he's got a sleeper, and you can kind of see that it's got that little cab that goes, you know, that extended, and it got a little bed back there, right? Well, there was a guy, he was in a day cab, and a day cab is like UPS trucks tend to have day cabs because they're not like over the road long haul truckers, right? They tend to be, you know, somebody that's just going to have the truck out. They work 8 hours, they go home. They work 10 hours, they go home, but they work their limit and then they go back. So they don't tend to have a sleeper bunk in the back. So to the story, right? I was driving in from my house, driving into Nashville. I was on the same road that I'm on right now, and I had my CB on, and I looked to the side of me. So there's something that applies the brakes on a truck, and it's called the brake chamber. So you may or may not know that the brakes on a semi are actually actuated by compressed air. So you have a compressor, and if you're riding behind a truck or by a truck or something like that, a lot of times you'll hear psst, and it'll be something like that just while you're driving, or if it's sitting still, or if you're, you know, if you hear them apply the brakes or you know, apply the parking brake, you'll hear air get released. So the way the braking system works is you hit one lever and it supplies air to one side of the brake chamber, which will release the brakes. And when you hit the brake pedal or the hand brake, or those two, brake pedal or hand brake, it actually sends air to the other side of the chamber, which will actually apply the brake. So the first one releases it, the second one applies it. Don't need to get into the technical, right? But I'm driving next to this guy in this day cab, has a flatbed just like the one that I showed you. And there's a coil of steel on that flatbed. And a lot of people look at that and go, well, he's got a lot of room left. I wonder why he just did one coil of steel. Well, keep in mind that coil of steel is going to max out the truck. So that coil of steel is not light. You're talking 40,000 pounds for a coil of steel, if not more, right? So you're usually going to be pretty close to a max load. Well, I'm beside this guy, and he's got a coil of steel in the center on a day cab. Oh, something else about it. So most of your day cabs, they'll either have a one tandem, or they'll have one axle in the back, or they'll have two. So this one had one. So it basically had 4 tires in the back on one axle, and then the 2 tires in the front on one axle, and that's it for the cab, right? Well, I'm driving besides this guy, and I see him hit his brakes, and the brake chamber moved. Well, brake chambers are supposed to be bolted down to a bracket, because when they get the air to them, they're supposed to push the brake pad onto the drum, right? And that's mainly what I was working with at that point, was drums. I know there's some discs out there now, but principle's going to probably be similar, right? But he hit it, and the brake chamber went zoop, and it jumped up, which meant that they had sheared off the bolts, or rusted off or whatever, but the bolts that were supposed to hold it weren't holding it, which meant on the right rear of his truck, he had no brakes. So I called on the CB, and I actually got him on the CB, and I said, hey driver, I said, you know that your right rear brake chamber is loose, and every time you hit the brakes, it's just shooting straight up? And he's like, what does that mean? Right? So first off, if you're driving a truck, God, I hope you know what, you know, your brake chamber doesn't work. I hope you know what that means. But anyway, so what does that mean? I said, it means you have no right rear brakes. He goes, oh, that sounds pretty bad. And I was like, well, yeah, right? And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this guy's on the highway, right? But he's like, that sounds pretty bad. So, yeah, he goes, well, I've only got to make it to Birmingham. Dude, we're in Nashville. You've got like a whole state left. You're trying to go to like Birmingham, Alabama. You've got like 4 hours to have your brakes fail with a full load. Yeah, it'll be all right. I got brakes on the trailer. So literally floored me that somebody that had a full load in traffic in Nashville was willing to risk it. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you have your wow moment, right? And that's exactly what that was. That was my wow moment, because I would have never thought somebody that had a CDL license driving a full load would have just went, I got most of my brakes. But what do you guys think? So, Tales of a Car Guy, right? Steve Welch, you know, Tales of a Car Guy. You guys have a good day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.